All right. What I want to get into a little bit more, or I guess I'll kind of see how you're feeling about things, but doing a sort of an exercise where a few of you might do this one just to kind of build some comfort with it. I want to build split screen, just 2 cameras side by side, which we could just use M1 in the touch PC. That's perfectly fine. And then we're going to store memories, and we're going to put that into a custom control. So it's just something quick that we can recall to make our show look pretty cool.
Sounds good.
Let me think. Okay, yeah, so we're going to start with that. So I can try monitor. Let me think. I want to build ME background, touch PC, camera, CG1 file. Is that been copied up? Do you do a bus copy over here
Plus copy.
at some point?
We copied
Just-
one ME to the other.
Yeah, program and ME1 keys all match.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, we did that yesterday.
Oh, you did it yesterday? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll do a setup. We'll actually use... Oh, we don't get ultra scenes anymore, so we won't be able to use that. But what we're going to do is we are going to... This exercise will have you use a mini ME
Okay.
to create a look. That mini ME will reference ME1. And from the switcher, we'll pull up that mini ME that'll actually be our source that we're going to work on. You'll see where I'm going with it. But this kind of makes things an easy way to build it up. If you've got 2 people talking and you want to split them up together, maybe there's a third, just being able to cut your cameras within a split screen is pretty fun. So the first thing I would like to do is I want to make sure when I'm building something, I want to be able to see it really well. You do have your mini MEs listed over on the left side of your multi-viewer. I like to just pop it into preview, just for me. It's a little bit bigger. You could go preview program, whatever. But first thing we're going to do is we're going to pop mini ME2 into our preview of our program bus.
Sure.
Good. So we can see it matches mini ME2, what's in our preview. We're going to work from there. Next thing we need to do is our top row.
Yep.
It's currently functioning as ME1.
Okay.
So-
Change it to-
We're going to change that to mini ME1.
So would be?
So it won't be in your key. So you've got the label of what it's currently functioning as right now.
Yeah.
So go ahead and touch that. There you
Oh.
go. Yep, simple as that.
It's because it didn't have the arrows. I didn't think it was.
Ah, yes, it didn't have the arrow. What we really look for is the border around it.
Got it.
Key
Okay.
has a border. Our ME, what it's functioning has a border, and preset
Okay,
has a border.
that's good to know. Thank
Yes. So, yep. If we start with a touch, you will finish with a touch. There we go. Okay. So now our top row is functioning as mini ME2, as we can see right there. The other thing is we have the shortcut buttons up top over here. So MME2, if you switch that to MME1, mini ME1, note how the bus changes. So if you switch, the mini ME1 button is yellow with the color set. Switch it to that mini ME1. Our row is now yellow. See how mini ME2 is purple?
Yep.
You switch it to that, it's now purple.
Oh, that's really cool. Okay.
It's a kind of a quick way as you get comfortable and familiar with those colors and what's going on.
Yeah.
You're at a glance kind of able to tell which function you're working
And you
in.
can do that down here too.
Yes, you can.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool to know.
Yes. Yep. So all those colors will match. That's why the color one that's in there right now is a pretty good set. We like it because it's fairly different in its colors. I know
Yeah,
we
yeah.
saw the on-air all red one. They're all there. They're all red. So
Sweet.
you don't get that little feature out of it. So the next thing we need to do is we're going to build our split screen on mini ME2. The idea here is we're going to take 2 keys. They're going to be DVE, and we're going to place them together on the screen.
Yep.
So you've got your keyer area.
Yep.
We're going to use Touch PC and M1 for this.
Sweet. Well, this is already touch PC.
It's already
okay.
Touch PC, yep.
And then I should
DVE, yep. So, take a look here. We have kind of labels on our section. So this is the transition area.
Sure.
So instead of using, I know it's confusing because we see a DVE there. This is a DVE transition type.
Sure, so I should use it over here.
You have, yep, those are
Yeah,
your
makes sense.
key type selectors. So now we can see it's got touch PC and it's a DVE.
Perfect.
So in key 2, we want to add, what did I say? M1 also as a DVE.
So I should pull that down, right? And then
So, oh, that's ME1.
oh, my bad.
It's okay. And you don't need to hold that select button, because take note, the auxiliary bus up here, that is functioning based on different things that we hit on the switcher. So if I'm in here, key 1, I can see all these buttons are functioning as a selector for key 1. I push that, it's now working
Got
as
it.
a selector for key 2.
Good to know.
Good. So we've got touch PC and M1. We've got a DVE key type and an auto key type. Good. You've got it selected, and now it's DVE.
Sweet.
The rate is 20 on this one, which is interesting. But we don't need that right now.
And would I change it up there, the rate?
So the rate you would change. The touch drive panel, it's been a little bit since I've been on one. I select this. Okay, so that's actually going to be in the memory panel here.
Yep.
So, as you can see,
Key
we have a
rate.
key rate. So if you select that key rate, let's match them. So 16, enter. 16 and 16.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. So, in preview, this is the Program ME's preview. We've got Mini ME2 in there. Now, what I want to do is let's turn on both keys in our Mini ME where we're working. All right. So, key priority was talked about a little bit. So, the higher the key number, it's going to go on top. So, 2's on top of 1's on top of background.
Even though I have M1.
Yes. So even though you have even though you have key 2 selected,
Thank you too.
take note, it's showing up as the media store, so it's looking at that. So you hit that select button again. Now you can see you've got DVE control. Yep. And we'll have to look at that other key, because that seems a little funky. So what I want you to do is, let's go into Live Assist on the touchscreen.
Sure.
It's a good place to have visuals, and I just know these numbers. The split screen is pretty standard. So the first thing we need to do is, let's take that size,
Yep.
and we're going to default it back to where it was.
Sure.
So that first column, yep. So you could drag that slider right there,
I
or
can also hit.
you can type in the numbers up there. So if you tap that 0.0, you get this, but we're going to
default.
default, so let's just default it. Perfect.
Perfect.
Let's default X and Y position as well.
Can I also double tap one of these buttons too to get it to default?
Yes, so if you double tap these 3 knobs, which are
perfect.
functioning here
Yeah.
as the DVE, and I'm actually going to have you kind of alternate, and I'll drive you into which one, but just so you get the idea
Sure.
of things. So the first thing I want to do with this, actually, I want to crop it.
Yeah.
Because what we're going to do, as there was a sort of split screen built yesterday, talking to the camera operators, it's so much easier to say center frame, put him right in the middle, rather than, okay, camera 2, make sure he's on your right, camera 3, put him on the left. That's too confusing. So as you can see in here, we do have some crop options, cropping the left, right, top, and bottom, but we're going to go through those knobs there. Yep. And you've got your options there. You've got horizontal crop, you've got aspect, and vertical crop.
Yep.
Before we turn that horizontal crop, because we're going to trim the outside,
Mhm.
I want you to push that button, push that knob down once. Now it's left, it's cropping from the left, and if you push it one more time, it's cropping from the right. So for example, it's L/R. Start spinning that knob and see what happens to your green leaf up there. You're only cropping from one side. If we do this, so that's where you have to tell your camera operators to frame them certain ways. I don't want to do it that way, so let's pull that back down to 0% with a good double tap, which is good because as you double tap that, it'll cycle through how that knob is functioning.
Oh, cool.
So it was on the right side, now it's on the left. So let's punch that until we get to horizontal crop.
Okay.
There we go. So with the horizontal crop, I wanted 2 shots filling the frame. These are in percentages, so that's just something to keep in mind. we want to take away 50% of each shot. So let's start spinning that knob and see what's happening. Let's go all the way up to 50. All right, so that's something that 2 of those might fit, but we're cropping. Let me see. Make sure I get this right. Okay, yeah, so that's right. Make sure I've got it right. So if we cropped horizontal to 50%, we've taken away half of it. If we look on the touchscreen under crop, it's cropped from the left side 25 and the right side 25.
Sure.
It's taken us and given us a shot that we can side by side, 2 things to be next to each other. The next thing we want to do is we want to move it on the X position to the right. I'm going to do that because key 2, the one we're working on right now, I cut it on and off air. I can see it's that one. That one's on the right. Kind of makes sense.
Sure.
We're going to push it to the right.
Alright.
So let's find that X position. So you could use the positioner knob.
But this is a little more accurate.
It's more accurate, and you're not going to get up and down nonsense to it. All right. Good. So this is
want to do the same thing with.
you'll want to do that, but I want to take a look at our first one that we've done right here. And a lot of this can be done kind of through thinking about it mathematically. We took 50% of that shot away from it. We cropped it that way. So that X position, yep, you can be real precise and move it without eyeballing it. You can just place it at 25%. So it's been shifted over that way. Now the idea is you can do the same thing with that first key. Although I want to look at this key because as you can see, it's sort of transparent. What do we have in there? We have the touch piece. Oh, that's because of the key type.
Yeah.
So what type of key are we working in there?
Right now, auto.
Yep, auto. So somehow that got changed.
Yeah, I don't know. It changed when I changed this one to DVE.
Oh,
So,
interesting. Well, we'll swap it to
and see, that one went back to auto.
ah.
Now-
This is a yep. Now the other one's an issue. So this is where we start thinking about it. I know it was mentioned yesterday. The resources when you take the switcher from HD mode to UHD. The idea
is a
that
UHD.
this is UHD, and there is a limit on the number of active DVE keys that we can use.
Active. The limit's 1.
The limit's not 1. It's I want to say it's 5.
Oh, so
But to take note of it, so yeah, we've got some stuff set up down there. But let's go to the navigation menu. Let's see where we can monitor this. Within this group, we've got a lot of good stuff, but in the middle there is status. Kind of show us the status of things. So we get 4 DVE keys available.
Sure.
I haven't actually worked with the UHD switcher, I'll admit. So, Jason, if I've got all 4 of them used, how do I drop one of them? Am I clearing out a key?
So have a look at the other channels that are in use
Yep.
and decide which one can you let go of.
Okay, so one of these we could change its key type.
Yep.
Yep, so you'll do that down here.
So select. Let's change it to auto.
So now it's an auto. Yep, and you can dump whatever you'd like.
We'll free up all 3 of those. Perfect.
And now you can see your allocated DVEs right now. You've just got that one there. So now we can go back to M1 DVE. We can turn that key 2 on, and we've got that back.
Perfect.
Now if we go to key 1, we've got our DVE. So why don't you go through the same process? Now this is an instance where yes, using the knob is perfectly fine, but you could also go in here and type in 25
Sure.
2 separate times. Same thing with the X position. You could do the knobs there, or you could just type in where you want it to go.
I will run it. 45.
There we go. That has now been shifted over. So now we've got, if we just turn these keys off and on,
It looks like slightly in the middle. You can see a
slightly in the
little
middle.
bit.
Yeah, there's going to be just that little bit of a gap. This is an instance where maybe using something from Expression like a split bar, or we could go in and just tweak one of their crops to be a little bit less
Yeah.
than 25, which is what we'll probably do right now.
Okay.
But just to take note of what we're seeing in our preview window.
Got it.
We're operating in Mini ME2, which is the source and preview. We've got 2 keys turned on, and both of them are DVE. they've both been cropped and shifted away so they fill the frame. Both of those keys, key 2 is over key 1, which is over background. What's in background, if we look, of this bus here, our shift sources lit up. So what is the shift side of that first crosshair? First cross point. So if you push and hold that shift, it's that BG, it's that red color.
Yeah.
So when we take away those keys, it's that red color. Where in this instance, we do see that red peeking through. So this might be an instance where we would put black underneath it.
Sure.
So instead of the background generator, simply let go, and into program, black.
Nice.
Let's bleed through. You don't see that red popping through. Red is really nice because it's often visible with what you're working with, and that way you can kind of see if you've got gaps around things.
Yeah.
And that was a good thing there. So let's put that BG back in program into its background. So shift BG. Yep. You can see that red popping a little bit more. Now I'll leave it up to you of which side you want to remove a little bit of the crop from, just to get rid of that.
And the touch PC's on, so.
Okay.
Sodium rises.
Yep, you're in Live Assist. So we are in the mat menu. ME's good. Now you're back to where that menu is. So that's the X position. So you'd actually be moving it. So we want to get rid of a little bit of crop.
Oh, sure.
So touch PC's on the left. So I would say maybe if you just took the right crop
Yeah.
and instead of 25, make it a little bit smaller.
There you go.
There you go. Next thing I will often do is I will just cut them on and off to see what's happening. So that crop because of the key priority, the left side is below the right side.
Yeah.
Because that's key 1. You do crop a little bit off of that. That might not be a problem to you. But let's try, instead of 23,
Sure.
let's make it 24.5.
Got it.
Just a little bit of crop taken away. Now, cut key 2 on and off and watch where that ends.
Oh, there you go.
Not a huge deal, but at least we know we've got a little bit of coverage, and it's easy to make sure our camera operators are framed up where they need to go. All right. The next thing I want to do is I want to make this split screen that we're building super flexible. I want to be able to cut cameras on both sides, which in a second, if we could get those studio cameras on, that'll be a big help.
Could you do one over there?
Yeah. Thank you.
Sweet.
Just so we have a couple sources that we can cut around. But the idea here is we're building this in Mini-ME 2, which is probably not what our top row is going to be operating in. It's probably going to be operating in ME1.
Yeah.
Let's make it easy for us to navigate through this, to be able to play around with it.
Okay.
So, good, we've got our cameras. Now, what I want to do is, in our 2 keyers, we have 2 specific sources set. So in order for us to change this, we need to come in here, hit select, and work through that auxiliary bus to put whatever source we want in there. But to me, I'm kind of lazy. I don't want to do it that way. I want to put a different source in there that's super flexible for me. So what we're going to do is, let's select key 2. Good. So on your touchscreen, you can see that it's followed. It's got key 2 information, which you can see key 2 is now lit up. Just a few buttons to that right of that key 2, you've got M1. What I want to do, go ahead. Camera 2, yep, that's one way we could do this. But I want to be even lazier. I don't want to go into this touchscreen to cut my cameras at all. Let's go back into that key source. So obviously you could hit select here and operate through the buttons on the panel itself to put a source into there, but this is a way of doing it through the dashboard, where instead of using a physical or internal source, I'm going to use an ME follow. So go to that ME follows group, and what I want to do on the right side, I want to put whatever's in ME1 program, and whatever's on the left, I want to put ME1's preview. I want to get a little tricky with it. So if we look in our ME follows, we've got We've got ME backgrounds. We've
We
got
want ME1
ME1.
Preset? Is that what you want?
So it's up to you how you want it to work. But I'm going to say I want program to be on the right and preview to be on the left. So let's put ME1 background into key 2. Okay. And let's do the same thing on key 1. Instead of background, we're going to put preset in there. So our sources have changed of what's happening in our split screen. Again, as I mentioned, we're probably not going to operate these 2 rows as our program ME and a mini ME2. More than likely, mini ME1 will be up top. So let's change our top row back to ME1. All right. Take note of, okay, so camera 3 is in program. Camera 3, we can see that ladder. We can see that sort of brick wall. What's in preview?
Podium.
Podium. If we look at podium, it's black. Look at that.
Oh,
I can sit here and you all day you can cut around what cameras are going to be on the right side and the left side.
Oh, that's cool.
So now,
That'd be cool for you guys.
as a director, it's a little hard to call this because you're going to be like, all right, left side I want camera 2, right side I want camera 3. So you could set that up. So if you want the left side to be camera 2 and the right side to be camera 3, which it's already in. Let's make it camera 1 instead. Cut around with this all day. The other thing is now, because we've built that out as a mini ME, where if you remember as sort of the resource stealing and what a mini ME is, a full ME, you have all your transition types as well as access to all the currently active in this format. UHD, you get the 4 keyers. On the mini ME, we only get the 2. So if we want graphics on top of this, we have all these key channels not being currently used to now put in lower thirds, to put in a split screen bar.
That's
So we
awesome.
can even give it a little practice. We'll jump between machines here. So we're going to slide over to expression, and we're going to create a really simple split screen bar. So let's switch over to the layout side. I want you to create a whole new scene.
Okay. That'd be,
So to do that, in the scene manager, where all of your sort of templates live, we call them scenes.
sure.
So scene manager, you have that rectangle with that green plus, but you also have the keyboard shortcut should be Control N. When you hover over it, it shows you. You might have to be active in the scene manager window there. Yep, there we go. So now we've got a new scene. We're gonna rename this scene. I know I built a lot of the stuff in there and I didn't name it, but I like train as in we name things, because as Jason likes to make the point of, and I steal it, name your stuff so you know what it is. Let's rename scene 11 to be split bar. So you do that if you right click on the thumbnail above.
This one.
Yep. And then there's rename.
Oh, I missed that.
That's all right. Oh, so you hit duplicate.
Oh, what?
Yep. So where's scene 11? Oh, it might have been scene 12. You might have deleted.
No, I'm just gonna rename scene 12.
So rename scene 12. There's nothing on it. Split bar. All right. I apologize if we didn't go too much into this, but we need to add a quad to our scene.
Sure.
Very good. Apologies on the recording if I'm sniffing and drinking water. Now we've got a quad. What I want you to do is I want you to make the height of that quad 1080, so it fills the whole screen. Fills the whole frame, because our canvas is 1920 by 1080. Let's take the width, and instead of 400, I'm kind of guesstimate. Let's make it 50. Let's see how that looks. It's a little thick. Let's make it 25. Looks pretty good. Let's apply a material to this. All we're doing here is we're going to keep it real simple.
Material. What material?
We just need a simple color.
Oh,
So let's, pick that red or yellow, I guess. One of those would be good. So yeah, click and drag might be the instinct, but if we look down in the object manager, you've got quad 1 down there. That's the actual quad you put in. Let's also rename that quad. So keyboard shortcut, this is a Windows shortcut, F2 on the keyboard, yep. Just name that split bar. It's just nice to know the name of it. Because the scene is called split bar, yeah. So just call it split.
Let B.
Split B, perfect. Now we've got our object manager and we've got our object inspector. And within there, we've got our materials.
Sweet. And then
Those are stuff that's in there. So we're going to red, just double click to apply it. Nice. I think we're just about ready to put it onto our scene. So let's switch to the sequence side. And we're just browsing through Expression really quickly here. Yep. In your scene manager, you've got your split bar. Once you click and drag it into the sequence, it's playing out of frame buffer 1, which is CG1, which is where I want it to play. Let's go ahead and put that graphic out. So you're going to use take, or you can double click it. And now in CG1, we've got a
cool.
red split bar. Let's go ahead and put that red split bar into ME1 so that it can be brought. Oh, it's already on air because it's down there, which is one place that you could put it. But I want to kind of bake all of these elements in together.
Sure.
So let's take it offline there. And in ME1, that's where I want that CG to be added.
So I should put over.
So actually, it looks like you might already have that key.
Oh,
there.
ooh. We just got it right there. ME1.
And ME1, yep. So now as you take that singular source, you don't have to worry about keyers. This is where having multiple channels of expression is nice,
Yeah.
because CG1 is probably going to be a lot of your lower thirds or any sort of graphics you've got going, and then CG2 can be things like your split screen, so that you don't have to take this key out to then put it up here. But I wanted to get the idea of us building this out, so ME1 is now where our full thing is going to come. Or I'm sorry. Oh, actually, now I think about it, I'm backwards. Yep. I led you astray. So the idea here was we built our split screen on Mini ME1,
Yeah.
or Mini ME2, excuse me, and we used the program and preview source of ME1, but I used the CG here. So actually, these sources are going into Mini ME2. So to do that, we'd actually more than likely just use the key here, which would give us, as we can see in preview, it looks perfect. So the idea here is, and we'll cover some more of this, this will be good practice, but our next transition area, I want that off. Good. So that looks correct. Now I've taken a weird turn. I went kind of the wrong way, so I want to re-explain just so I know that
Sure.
everybody's good with it. So the idea here is, if you could hit Mini ME2 for me, please. On Mini ME2, we have two keyers.
Yep.
We put the source into both of those, which was ME1's background and ME1's preset.
No.
So if we go to, if you could hit ME1 for me, please. Those two sources are what's going into there. Because our Mini ME only has two keyers available, and this might be an option where you flip what just happened. So you build your split screen on ME1, but then you have to use Mini ME2 to do your cutting around.
Sure.
But within here, we can set it up so it grabs that key. Mini ME2, which we can see down there. We can see it's in preview. That's in preview of our program bus. So we can see the final build of it all. And then key 4 is CG, which has the split screen bar that you just created. It is waiting to come in because right now it's not on air.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Now, how's it on the?
How's it on the preview? So that's going to have to do with the next transition area, and I'll
Sure.
cover that in a second. But the idea here is, if I just have this background button selected in my next transition area, what's going to happen is it's going to cut between whatever's in program and preview, whatever's in background and preset.
Sure.